Hi, and welcome to the PublishPress Podcast. I'm Steve Burge, and in this week's episode, we have some good news. In the last couple of years after the coronavirus, there was a lot of talk about the death of WordPress events and just conferences in general. We saw some big cancellations of things like the O'Reilly conferences and lots of smaller conferences, and WordCamps were just sucked up in that. It was difficult to get people to meet in person again. But this year, we've seen quite a bounce back. We've had Ben May from Sydney on the podcast, and he's holding a enterprise WordPress event down there. We had Raquel from PressConf talking about her event in Arizona. There's been others, including LoopConf in London recently. And in this week's episode, I'm happy to have Rodolfo Melogli, who is holding Checkout Summit in Palermo, Italy. He's built a real following in the WooCommerce world, and he's now leveraging that to hold a conference in Italy all about WooCommerce. I think you're going to find this a really interesting episode about the value of community and also of taking risks. He's not held a conference like this before, but it's working because people have learned to trust him over his years in WooCommerce, and I know he's going to make this work. If you're interested in WooCommerce, hear what Rodolfo has to say, and maybe you should be considering getting on a plane to his conference in Italy in April next year. Hey, Rodolfo, welcome to the PublishPress Podcast.
Thank you, Steve. It's an absolute pleasure.
So we've had a bunch of people on the podcast lately. We had Raquel, who is running PressConf, and we had Ben May, who is running a WordPress event in Australia. A couple of years ago, we were talking about how WordPress conferences had died after COVID, but here we are with really several conferences. I think we had LoopConf in London lately, and now Rodolfo, you are doing Checkout Summit, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And after all these years where I've been really talking out loud, asking WooCommerce, can we get back into conferences? I mean, we all need that. And there's been also a trend on WordCamps not to include too much of WooCommerce. And I said, right, I mean, that's giving you the chance to get back into organizing WooConf, which used to be the flagship conference organized by WooCommerce in 2000, and I think 15, 16, 17, something like that. And they did it 3 times. And apparently it was amazing. I mean, I wasn't around back then, but I've been pushing them to, after COVID, since we're back into normal life, apparently, to, organize it. I mean, it's a big brand, and a big brand needs to talk to its users. And I've always wanted to do, always wanted them to go back to WooConf. I've been telling them on Twitter, on emails. I've posted several, blogs on several posts on my blog about the benefits of having a conference for WooCommerce, and then I said, you know what, I'm gonna go crazy for one day and say I'll do it, and not trying to redo what they did at WooConf. So I just came up with my own conference, give it a name, and went for it. And the first 50 tickets already sold.
Congrats.
So I'm kind of, okay, so this is actually happening. And I'm absolutely delighted to be, looking at all these independent and affiliate WordPress events, because people definitely need to go back to, putting a face on other people, to chat in real life, and to be present and understand what's going on in the WordPress, WooCommerce in this case, Word, and see, what the future holds.
So it's been a while, but if memory serves me right, they did a couple of WooConfs up in Seattle, Washington in the United States.
Yeah. I'd say 3 of them. I think there was Austin as well at some stage. I think we're talking about 15, 16, and 2018 or something like that.
Been a while.
So it's been a very long while. And of course, like as part of my process of, I'll do it myself, there was also myself really pushing them to get back onto organizing their own events, because at WordCamps, there are no WooCommerce talks, not a lot of WooCommerce people. So I was hoping for them to do it. So in the meanwhile, I said, you know what, I'll do it myself. Came up with a name, which is, let's say, software agnostic. So it's Checkout Summit. It's not, WooCommerce Summit or something like that, or Shopify Conf. I'm going to cover e-commerce in general, but this year I want it to be about WooCommerce, and hopefully, if it goes well, I'm going to redo it and redo it and redo it. I've spoken to WooCommerce, of course, before coming up with this whole thing, because I thought it was fair to get in touch with them before organizing it. Yes, it's an independent event, but still, I'm going to be having 12 speakers talking about WooCommerce. I'm going to have attendees from all over the world working on WooCommerce products, developers, agencies. So I had to ask WooCommerce for at least permission. Like, can I do this? And I say, oh gosh, this is great timing. We're so happy that you came up with this. And,
Awesome.
We chose together the date. I thought it was important because, there are so many flagship WordCamps, so many, third-party events like, PressConf and CloudFest and LoopConf. And I mean, there are so many of them that, if one day I wanted WooCommerce to also be a sponsor, I couldn't pick a date where another big event was happening. So it was important to also agree on a good date, which is going to be April 2026. And
also, the Automatic team have been working really quite closely with you. They've said, hey, this is a good thing. We want you to hold this event. Here are some good dates. They've actually been quite supportive and quite helpful in getting this held.
Yeah, let's say I gave them, based on the venue availability, which we'll probably cover later. I was given, late April and mid-October, and I just went to WooCommerce and said, what about these 2 dates? Like, is any of these gonna cause, problems, or is there any other WooCommerce event you're planning to attend so that eventually you can send speakers to Checkout Summit, or maybe you can even sponsor it. So, we were kind of chatting behind the scenes and trying to agree on a date. And Q1, almost Q2, 2026 was the best choice. There is WordCamp Asia, which should have been in February, but now it's been pushed to early April. There is WordCamp EU in June, and there is WordCamp US in August. So that's why I picked April. Then WordCamp Asia pushed forward by 2 months, and it's a bit of a problem, but at the same time, it's very early April, and I'm late April.
Rodolfo, you are hosting the event in Palermo, in Sicily, in the south of Italy. You may have a similar problem with holding conferences where I am in Florida, that there's a whole stretch in the summer, say between July, August, September, when almost nobody wants to come. It's too hot.
Yes.
Is that right for Sicily too, that coming in the spring or the fall is going to be the best time? So April is a good time to be coming to Palermo?
Yeah. That was also what I had in mind. Like, I'm not organizing a conference in the middle of the summer where you might get up to 40 degrees Celsius. And it's like, that's not nice. There is a swimming pool in the hotel, but at the same time, I didn't want to, risk it. So, late April or, October, they're actually nice months. In here, you might get the odd rain, but it's nice. The 20 degrees more or less during the day. If the wind from the desert comes up, it might get a little bit higher. You never know. I mean, that's really something that might last 2 or 3 days, and you never know when it's going to happen. But it's a nice temperature. I mean, not saying you can, you can swim in the sea, which is right in front of the venue. Not saying you can enjoy the swimming pools, which will be open, by the way. But should be nice weather, hopefully, and not too hot for most Central Europeans and North Americans, especially. For us, like Sicilians, like late April, it's definitely not a good time to go to the sea, to go to the beach. We'd be wearing still jackets and, hoodies and, trousers and, shoes. But usually the beach season starts in early June, when there are at least 30 degrees. So that's our mindset anyway. If it's not 30, it's not good enough, You would get the odd tourist, like, walking on the beach in February, and maybe it's a beautiful day. It's like 15 degrees, and for them it's like summer. So, the beach right there is beautiful. But that's a nice time of the year, and that's what I was hoping for.
So how did you get here? How did you end up getting 150 people to fly to Palermo for a WooCommerce event? Take me back. How did you first get your feet wet in the WordPress world?
Wow, that's a very long.
That's a long way back.
That's a very long story. Let's say that I am a civil engineer, so I was working completely on, different stuff, and I was in Ireland at the time. So I went to Ireland in 2007, started working for an engineering company, and after 4 years of, long days and weekends and long nights and lots of work and lots of rain as well. The recession, the 2011 recession, or, if we want 2010, recession came, and in 11 I was let go. And I said,
what were you building, if you don't mind me asking? Can you walk around different parts of Ireland and say, that's Rodolfo's?
I'm from Rome, okay, and I build roads. So that's what that's why I went to Ireland for. Apparently the Romans didn't get to Ireland. They only got to UK and then stopped.
The Romans, they thought that the British people were weird and scary. I think they painted themselves blue. But the Irish, they were even more scared of the Irish. They thought it was just beyond the edge of civilization. And so, no Roman roads in Ireland, I guess, until you arrived.
Until I got there and then started building motorways. And it was a very good job, to be honest. And we're checking that the right materials were going in the right places. So we were not the contractor. We were checking on the quality of the materials. And, Ireland is like always wet. It was so hard to work in there for the Portuguese contractor. Like, they were really missing the sunshine. So in 2011, I was let go, and I was given the option to go to Canada or Australia with the same company. And I said, no, thanks. I want to stay here, love Ireland. Actually, I got to like it very much and found my little piece of paradise.
So which part of Ireland were you living in at the time?
I was just south of Dublin, in a kind of a commuting town called Naas, Naas. And it's lovely, super green, nice houses, and kind of fancy bars and restaurants, and great tennis club. That's where I spent most of my time in Ireland, inside the tennis club. So I said, I'll take a few months off and see how it goes. And then I said, hold on, I'm Italian. the bakery in the town that I used to live just closed down. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to build a bakery online and build a website, do lots of recipes of biscuits and stuff that I can sell while cooking at my place. Do a course for safety and stuff like that and sell it. And I say, wow, that's amazing. Let's do it. Then I ate so many biscuits in the next few weeks that I I got sick of cooking, of baking. And I say, hold on, but I like doing websites. I really enjoyed this experience of putting together a website for my bakery online. And, e-commerce kind of thing at the time was like Google Sites or something, all by hand. And I said, I could do this. Up to that moment, I had a bit of HTML experience. I've done some fantasy football websites and stuff like that, or board games and stuff. And I say, I could do this for a living. I might charge like, 50 euro for an e-commerce website and see how it goes. And then I say, hold on, 50 euros multiplied by how many clients to get to a decent salary. So, I started very slow, very small through the Chamber of Commerce. And my first client was like e-commerce client. They wanted to sell online. I had no idea about software, how it could be done, what I could be using. I said, oh, this WooCommerce looks good. It was back in 2012. And I said, let's do it. And from that moment on, I became a WooCommerce expert over the years, because I was sharing like code snippets and customizations on my blog, and loads of traffic started to come, and everyone wanted to hire me and, to achieve the same things, or, a modification or whatever snippet that I published. And then, the whole thing opened up a new world, from civil engineering to, coding. Like, I'm not a developer.
You never opened up the bakery?
I never did. I had a domain registered. I had a logo, like maybe done on Paint or whatever it was at the time. I had a website and the PayPal buttons underneath each pack of biscuits, and then it actually never sold anything. I just ate everything by myself. And then, that was the motivation that brought me to, become a website developer for the local, businesses first. And then through the luck, to be honest, that I had by sharing my WooCommerce customizations on my blog, then I became an international WooCommerce developer, just because people were sending inquiries from all over the world to say, I want to do that. I want to do that. Can you do that? Can you do that? So I became the WooCommerce mechanic, if we want to, because they were all coming with existing websites and they wanted to add something more. And that was the beginning of my WooCommerce career.
So you were in WooCommerce very early. The fork from Jigo Shop was 2011. 2011? Yes. And so you jumped in just about when the first versions of WooCommerce came out.
Yeah, it was about 2012 with my first WooCommerce client. So about a year later. I remember still as a very fun brand of these kind of foodie, doing all this kind of vapor things, recipes. I don't know what they're called. I don't even know if they still exist. I don't think so. But it was a chef and doing all these fancy things to eat. And it was very relevant to, what I did earlier with the bakery. So I said, oh, this is going to be easy. I'll just charge you 700 quid. And that was my, my first experience with WooCommerce.
You've had a 13, 14 year career in WooCommerce now. What have you done? You've been a developer, a blogger, you've created courses, you've had a whole career in WooCommerce.
Yeah, it's been a long ride, to be honest. And if you asked Rodolfo from 2011, like, where do you see yourself in 13 years? Never thought about this. Like, it was all like natural and organic. And, oh, this is working. I'll just do more. Or there's definitely a need for an online course. Why don't I record one? And then 45 lessons after I published it, and it was a lot of work. So basically, I spent all this time, I started with doing full websites. I said, after a few months, couple of years, maybe, I said, this is not for me. Like, I'm not going to stick with 6 or 9 months projects. Like, it's way too much work, like waiting for the content and photos and, architecture. And I had no patience whatsoever. So I said, you know what? I'm going to work on an hourly basis on smaller projects. And that was a great luck, to be honest, and choice at the same time, because then, through the blog, so I wasn't doing any networking. I wasn't doing any in real life conferences. I wasn't going anywhere except, being on my chair in my, room of my house and, getting inquiries every day through the blog. So that was
when you say the blog, which website were you blogging so prolifically on?
Yeah, so that was the Business Bloomer blog, and the actual name Business Bloomer, it's got nothing to do with WooCommerce, and that's because early in my web design career, I wanted businesses to bloom. So I wanted to give them a website which was not just a brochure website, something that could help them convert or get people to the contact form or get people to purchase the product. So the idea behind this brand was to actually help clients make more money. And then that stayed on over the years. And I never felt like, oh, it's time to rebrand. We've seen how rebrands can really go bad, in regards to SEO, in regards to anything. And I say, you know what, just stick with it. And now people, oh, you're a business bloomer. I say, yeah, how do you know me? I say, oh, I've been on your blog for like 7 years and always full of, great tips and snippets. I say, right, nice to meet you. So actually people know me, but I don't know anyone, basically.
It could be called rodolfomelogli.com or something. It's you. Business Bloomer is you. You're the face of it. You're the person that people go to for their WooCommerce advice. It's a personal brand almost.
Yeah, I would say so. In fact, I try to put my little gravatar face on every page just in case. And, on social, I always try to be me as opposed to the brand. Speaking, I don't particularly like brands on social. I don't follow any. I just follow people. So I like to be very personal, successes and failures and whatever it is. So yeah, Business Bloomer equals Rodolfo and Rodolfo equals Business Bloomer. And also, that's another reason why I said, oh, we need a conference now for WooCommerce makers.
Oh, okay. So that background really helps me understand why you think you are well positioned to host a WooCommerce conference. People know you as the WooCommerce guy. But was there a moment, a spark, when suddenly the conference went from not happening to happening, from 0 to 1? Was there a moment when Checkout Summit was born?
Yeah, I think it was a moment of madness for sure. I was at WCEU in Basel in Switzerland last June. So we're talking about, just a few weeks ago, basically. I was talking to some WooCommerce folks in the hallway, and we all noticed that, a conference was badly needed. And I said, oh, I've been saying that for years. And I said, well, I'll just do it. And like, we were kind of joking and, I wasn't being serious. And then I went back home, like after a couple of days, And I said, you know what? Like, I might come up with something. It happened that, in the last few years, my traffic has gone down by a lot because I provide code snippets, and now AI is doing it sometimes even better. So my traffic has gone down, my leads have gone down, my revenue has gone down, and therefore I had more time. And I say, you know what? I mean, the only way to fight against AI is to humanize back my brand, which means showing up in public, speaking, um, building a membership site where there are real humans behind it, and maybe organizing a conference. I say, why not? I mean, shouldn't be that hard. I've organized meetups and I co-organized a local WordCamp, and I said, shouldn't be too difficult. And that was really crazy. But we're here now, so I have to do it now.
So we deal with a lot of publishers, and they're in the same situation as you. AI is eating their traffic, and quite a lot of them are pivoting and saying the one thing that AI cannot do is create and cultivate a community. And they're hosting events. A lot of these publishers are local, so they're events in their community. But that is something that AI cannot take away from them. That they have the ability to create in real life events, communities that can't be sucked up into a database.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, in my, let's call it rebranding for this year, definitely there is, a choice of going against the bots, against the chatbots, against the AIs, because everyone knows how to use them. Everyone uses them on a daily basis, no matter what you do with it. So the only way to, to get back into community, the only way to get away from, the screen is probably like a conference. It's probably a meetup. It's probably, could be a podcast, a video, like whatever AI can't do, then that's a good thing to focus on now. And Checkout Summit came at the perfect time, perfect moment. And I had the time to organize it, spend the full summer like looking for venues and, studying and analyzing the feasibility and how many people am I going to get? And is there a venue with rooms? Because I didn't want people to, to go to a conference and then go search for accommodation elsewhere. I wanted to, basically create a gathering of 150 people in the same place for 2 days, talking about what, the future holds in regard to WooCommerce. And then I say, you know what? Amazing. That's all good. I found the venue. I paid the deposit. So I'm going to go for it. And then finally, I started to sell some tickets, the first 50 early birds, and no speakers announced, no sponsors announced, no schedule, nothing available except a place, a date, and a venue. And basically, we have 50 people now attending, and I haven't announced anything else. So that's the power of WooCommerce. That's the power of the in-person events, and that's the power of my brand as well. Because everyone believes in me. I hope I'm not gonna let them down because it's the first ever event, so lots of things can go wrong. But I hope that the good ones are gonna be, more than the bad ones, and hopefully they're gonna be happy.
Yeah, that reflects well on what you've built over the last decade or so. You're not telling people to come to London or Paris or a big city. You're asking people to take a risk on a new conference that's never been held before, to get on an airplane and fly to Palermo. in London, you could probably get 50 WooCommerce developers just hop on the tube and come over. In Paris, maybe the same. But all these people are committing maybe a week of their lives, flying down to Italy. That really reflects well on the work you've done previously to build up a community, to build up a brand of people who trust you enough to spend that time and effort.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people also purchased micro sponsorships just to help out. I mean, that's amazing. Like,
Nice.
I did even ask them to do that. And, they paid 3 times the ticket price just to help out with the organization.
Wow.
And 3 sponsors are already on board. I only, need 3 more. And this is kind of working. So I'm really hoping to come up with, a very good schedule of speakers. Like, over the years, I attended so many WordCamps, and, some year, yes, some other year, not really. I was let down by content. And I think instead that a conference should be, first of all, should be content first, should be speakers first. Because if I go to a conference, I want to spend time, sitting in the audience and listening to great speakers. I don't want to spend time outside the rooms and, spend all the time in the hallway tracks. I want to actually learn something. So that was my first goal. I mean, content has to be super. Otherwise, makes no sense. Second thing, sponsors have to be relevant. Otherwise, makes no sense. So if a sponsor doesn't have any sort of tie with WooCommerce, makes no sense. I want them to be part of the event. I want them to be spending time at the side events. I want to be speaking if possible. So it has to be a full immersion into WooCommerce. So I've chosen some features based on my previous experiences, my previous WordCamps especially, and something that I really wanted to do if it were my own event. And I did. The downside to this is that I've done everything on my own. I don't have co-organizers. I don't have partners. I don't have, at the moment, a team. It's just myself. I've done everything from building the website through finding the venue, through reaching out to speakers, sponsors, spending time on Twitter, building in public, and LinkedIn now as well recently. I've done everything on my own. And that's tough and that's risky because I risk of spending more time in bed as opposed to, excuse me, more time in bed as opposed to, on my work chair. But that's how it is for now. And maybe in the future, if it works well and we wish to scale, maybe we will look into, working on a bigger team and coming up with a proper company behind this. But at the moment, it's just me.
So the goal is 150 people?
Correct.
And you've sold 50 plus tickets now. So you're about 6 months away from the conference now. So your focus over the next 6 months is to try and persuade another 100 or so people to join you to talk WooCommerce in Palermo.
Yeah. I believe that I won't need to do too much pushing. I think my goal is to do a lot of pulling. And with that, I mean that if I'm able to announce the right speakers, if I'm able to announce the right sponsors, and if I'm able to tell people that there is more to it, like side events, welcome parties, and a nice and fun day out, the day after the conference, maybe games. I mean, there is so many things that we could be doing. And I believe that by simply announcing things week after week, that would eventually pull the remaining 100 people in order to fill basically the conference venue. And we've blocked 100 rooms. So that sounds like a nice compromise. 150 attendees, 100 rooms. I mean, the conference room could hold maybe 700 people. So maybe in year 2, we'll think about that. But I think 150 is a small enough conference where simply word of mouth is sufficient. And I'm saying this, which means that I'm hoping the word of mouth is sufficient and I don't need to do any advertising or, pushing people to come or, please come. It's going to be an amazing event. I mean, I want to demonstrate by announcing things that it's going to be a great event and that they should definitely come. And by the level of people that I've seen so far signing up, I mean, we are on a high-end level, and I'm super happy. There are, people, 6, 7, 8 figures people, product managers, developers, agencies, and I'm super happy to be seeing that without even sending out an email, and that's an amazing achievement.
It's attracting the right people so far, the people who are going to get some value from it, but also add some value as well. One of the difficult things sometimes about organizing a WordCamp is you don't really know who you're getting often. It's for good and bad, it's a very random selection of the population, maybe some people working in development, some agency people, some curious people that just happen to have a WordPress website. And so it makes pitching the content difficult. It makes it's difficult to just help a very broad section of people who turn up to a WordCamp. But by being hyper-focused and niche, you're looking for high-end WooCommerce people. You immediately narrow down the selection of people, and each person that comes is likely to be someone who is able to contribute a lot and get a lot out of it.
Yep.
A lot of self-selection.
I totally agree. And in the next few weeks, I'm also going to push a lot on the concept that going to Checkout Summit is going to be an investment. I don't like to say buy your ticket or purchase your ticket. I like to say invest in your ticket because you're definitely going to get the money back, if not more. So by having just the right people there, so plugin makers, consultants, developers, agencies. I mean, if you talk to a single person and you get a new contract in, or you get a new development job in, or a partnership, or who knows what, an acquisition, like you're definitely going to get the value out of it. And I'm almost thinking of coming up with a guarantee, which is buy your ticket and get the investment back or your money back. So it could be something crazy that anyone's never seen at any conference, but I really believe in the amount of networking that will happen at Checkout Summit. Like imagine 2 full days, like full immersion of WooCommerce makers. And I mean, if you don't make some money out of it, like makes no sense, honestly, to even attend the event. So I'm hoping to find a way to demonstrate that this is the event for those who are serious into WooCommerce and those who are willing to, upgrade or to increase the revenue or to find new opportunities. And I want this to be the place to be for a WooCommerce product manager or developer, and go there with a specific objective.
So you have basically booked into this. I mean, one of the interesting things about events is it's almost like one of those big sort of 8-9 month projects that you told me you were trying to run away from earlier, that you've booked the venue, you've put the deposit down, you've sold 50 tickets, people have probably booked flights, they've booked hotel rooms. You're booked into this project for the next half a year. You have, I think, from what I hear, speakers and sponsors, but none of them are announced yet. What's your plan over the next 6 months? Are you basically going to be using those announcements to regularly drum up interest, like 1 week new sponsor, next week new speaker? You kind of have a plan over the next 6 months to keep pulling, to use your phrase, to keep making announcements and trying to pull people to attend?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I have here actually on my board a timeline of what I think it should happen in the next few months. For sure, call for speakers, call for sponsors, call for volunteers, call for media partners, and call for, and I'm really proud of this, call for underrepresented willing to attend the event even if they can't afford it. We will have an inclusion grant, so anyone from anywhere in the world can actually hope to attend the event and get everything paid, ticket, accommodation, flight, as a refund on their expense anyway, on their purchase. So it's all closing at the end of October. I've chosen a single date just not to get, not to go crazy with, the call for sponsors in October, the speakers in November. No, everything is closing like this Friday, basically. And of course, if I can't fill all the sponsors, I will leave the call, open for a few more days. But overall, from what I've seen, I have the speakers mostly done. I have the sponsors 3 out of 6. I have some volunteers. I have loads of media partners, potential, because I haven't chosen them yet. So in the next few months, what am I going to work on? As I said earlier, I'm going to announce some things like week after week. I mean, I don't want to overdo this too much. Definitely, I'm going to be announcing the headline sponsor very soon, and that's one thing that will pull a lot of people to the event. That's a hope. Anyway, should be a big one. And over the next few weeks, I will then especially focus on speakers. Like, I want people who are well known in the WooCommerce space. I want relevant speakers. I won't be sharing the topics as of yet, but surely, 4 or 5 faces in the next month or so, they will be published on the website. I don't want to publish the topics yet, because we've seen how much WooCommerce has changed in the last 6 months, and I don't want to think what will happen in the following 6 months. So the actual schedule with the actual talks will be published later on, maybe in 2026. But for sure, in the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about the headline sponsors, about the supporting sponsors, and about the speakers. This should take me to the end of the year, so December 31st, 2025, with the regular tickets sold out. And then in 2026, I'm going to issue 50 additional premium tickets, which will be for, the late attendees. Still, they're not expensive for a 2 days conference where everything is included, like lunches, dinner, drinks, talks, side events, and you name it. So it's a good price point. But still, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. And that means that in 2026, I will focus on, really coming up with a strong schedule and loads of possibly side events, sponsored, hopefully, or not sponsored, whatever it is. And loads of things that can basically communicate the value of attending this conference, the value of coming to Palermo for 2 days and, possibly find your next business partner or your next gig or whatever it is that could really open up, a new world for you in regard to, revenue, partnerships, and growing your business or agency.
I wish you luck. It sounds as if things go well, this could be the start of something new for you too. This could be Checkout Summit version 1. And if it goes well, there could be a 2027, 2028 version as well. And you have me curious about the major sponsor now. You say it's someone that's going to get people excited. That's probably not going to be WooCommerce themselves or Automatic, because those are the ones people would just expect. Okay, so
Sorry, can't say
you're
anything
doing well
yet.
by teasing. You're doing well by teasing these things out. So we're going to be expecting some big sponsor announcements, some big speaker announcements. You're going to be rolling this out, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Maybe we should have you back on in May when you've held the event and you've had a couple of weeks to recover.
If I'm still alive,
and you can tell us how it went.
yes.
Oh, you'll be great. And you'll be starting to have some ideas in your brain for next year's conference, I'm sure.
True.
Thank you so much, Rodolfo. I wish you all the best with Checkout Summit version 1.
Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot for having me. It was a very nice conversation. I enjoyed this a lot.